Alright, good evening heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practising Programming in C, where we're doing some more stuff on Cinera. Probably miscellaneous config stuff, as per the title. Now yesterday we did just two tiny things over the 4 hours. The two things that we did were getting basically when an asset hash, a checksum hash is updated, we got that little display correctly showing that it needs to be updated, and then correctly erasing that line and writing the new thing to say that it has been updated, which is just a simple case of doing the following: clear terminal line, clear terminal row. It was just a case of doing this, and rather than doing what I was doing previously, which was essentially, I had like up here, I was printfing a carriage return, and then I was writing out spaces to overwrite the stuff that had been written. But the way to do it is actually to use this B thing, which it seems to be backspace. So it's like it just backspaces things, filling that actual character column with a space. So it does the same function as what I was doing, except that it can backspace kind of up rows, right? So that was our issue. We had a thing that was like multiple rows, and the way that I'd written it, it couldn't get to the start of the first row, essentially. I mean, clear terminal row, yeah, I mean, that is correct. So that was one of the things, and then the second thing, it was this situation here. It was getting this. It was this authored situation. So I think I'm actually on new code here, maybe, because I have figured out how to do this, I think. So there's Casey showing up as there's a few test cases that we need to get working. So there's the Andrew Bromwich one. We need to get that working. This, where Casey's cited down here, and then we just need a regular old episode to come out right. For example, this one. So we need to get these guys coming out right as well. And yeah, I think I figured out how to do it. How to do it without. I basically wanted to quickly look today into getting this and this into the same case, and I think all you need to do is the following. So you roll that into that. Roll that into that, and then you just do this and this, and I think that is all you need to do. You then got all the cases. You got the two cases that you need, just sorted out basically. And speakers count greater than 1 does handle the thing you need to do. There's a thing in push credentials actually. Was it build credits maybe? There's this check here, if speakers count is greater than 1, which it marries up with this check down here. So it's kind of okay to do it. The thing about this is that you need to do this check here so that you don't end up inadvertently just kind of categorizing everything, or rather inadvertently making. I'll show you what can happen if we don't put speakers.count, and also I'll just have to show you in the build credits, but I'll show you what does happen if we do it in these cases. I think this is right. So these guys are all the same. Just move the credits coming through. So now in this one we should see how this all look the same. Casey and Andrew. There's Casey and Andrew Bromwich there. And you've got people like Disused, GG Nates, X8 Pixels, who wrote, or writes Remedy PG, which is the debugger that Casey now uses on Handmade Hero. And then here, we want to make sure that Casey just comes out as Cinera story here. Now, if we don't have this speakers count, what we're going to delete to the speakers. If we don't do that, right, this will crash. We need to go up to build credits and allow this to work all the time. So if we don't check that there's more than one speaker, I think it might, yeah, this breaks it, right? You can see that Casey just pops up all the time, and that isn't what you want. He then pops up down here, and then down here. So that is why you need to have that check if the speakers count is greater than 1. But I think with that, we've got that whole authorial stuff working as we want it to. As want it to work. There's Casey coming through, just as that, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I guess we could choose to let this use Casey's actual name, push him on as an actual speaker, but I think that's something we might reconsider that later. I think for now, while most people, such as Queen Sab, Long Boolean, Cuba Caleb, while all these interfaces are on Connor Rents, I haven't seen Connor for years. I wonder what Connor's up to these days. While all of these people are just kind of talked about in terms of their usernames, I think it's fair to talk about Casey in terms of his username as well. I think in the future, maybe, if I guess like I suppose if I'm ever like working with a publisher who has got a sort of, I don't know, just a store of members whose names we could, whose usernames we can look up and retrieve their full names. If we end up in that situation, then perhaps we could switch all of these guys over to actually use that scheme. So Casey himself would get his name, Casey Muratori. Yeah, I think in that case, if we ever end up in that situation, we could do that. But for now, let's just stick with it like this. So yeah, with that, we're onto some other stuff. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do, actually. Certainly can just remove some of this garbage here. When a creditor's purchased the author of a chat comment, must tag it authored. And that does happen, doesn't it? Chat, I mean, that is going to be chat comment, I can see. These guys are just the medium that they should be. Yeah, so everything looks legit to me. Now, another thing was, now that I think about it, actually, I did change 2.3. So 2.3.1, I thought I'd have to do it like this. I'd have to like say that it's authored. But now that I think about it, I don't think that matters, does it? So maybe we don't Let's just see what happens. Yeah, so there's simulatory. So maybe that's just it. Maybe that's the case that we need. It's just like if there's more than one speaker, and we can get this, and we can get a speaker. So and we got one of the speakers from the list. Then we go ahead and do this. Is that true? Let's try something here actually. Yeah, let's try it in 440, isn't it? So here's authored. It's not got authored set. Now let's just say that we want pseudonym 73. Like is this a late one? Well, I don't know. But let's just say for the sake of argument that we want pseudonym 73 here to be able to say something in the chat. What happens? So yeah, that should be a quote comment, chat comment. So I think that suggests that we do need this test. I think that should get rid of that. Yeah, and pseudonym 73 comes through as a chat commenter. Okay, yeah, so we do want that. So I think we want the ability. We do want the ability to allow that to happen. But if there's only one user, like if there's only one speaker, it's a little bit weird. Maybe I'll have to document this somehow. If there's only one speaker, it will just go ahead and make them authored. Because that is working, isn't it? If we look at this for line 231, yeah, Casey's getting called authored. We're getting his full, getting his username. Okay, yeah, so I think that's all you need. You just need to sort of, you do need to do the is categorized author check. So yeah, with that, we can move on. So let's have a look at what we've got. I guess let's tick these guys off actually. The new copies got rid of the notion of play over. There's for here and code. We must add an output your prompt to the reading. Yeah, we do need to do that. Add a forced integration boolean or just if zero out the whole notion, but not to rename it of course. Yeah, so we've done this. We have just if zeroed it for now. Document the fact that cache direction in question function moves zero starting a blank line string for them. So we haven't done any documentation yet. Default theme to be yeah, we've done that. It says regular notion of day numbers, we haven't done that. Strip the slash the paths, we have done this, I believe. So we haven't done anything with DB5 yet. Make the comment path warning the default medium does not exist, just like annotator owner. We could do that. But if I have an error if outer for default medium is not set. Yeah, we could do that. Configure with the previous title is greater, then we could do that. Should we just totally error out if a person cannot be found? Could do that. Case insensitive as matter, we could do that as well. Toggle on AFE and get template integration working again without the notion of forced integration. I mean, that is working. Template integration is totally working without the notion of forced integration. So yeah, we've done that as well. So let's just put these ticked ones together. So case insensitive suppose matches to do this. So get person from config. Really? Oh, case match. Yeah, alright. Just use case sensitive. Was another case insensitivity one that we wanted to check? Don't think so. So this should mean that I'll just build it first of all. If we go here and we just do that and then build, I think this should still work, shouldn't it? Yeah, so it did generate everyone that we kind of know about. Whereas if we go back to the Cinera file, change that to that, you should find that it fails to do a load. Yeah, skips a load. I don't need personally config below. Yeah, so that's all we need. The new company got rid of this notion of setup. Yeah, that's the thing. Documentation. Is the numbers? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see that. Warning if the default medium does not exist. Just like I said, yeah, okay. So let's see about this. It's going to be in config. Let's see, isn't it? So default medium. Now that I think about it, make the config pass a warning if the default medium does not exist. Make the config pass error out for its default medium is not set. It's not going to be set if it doesn't exist, so it's going to have to error out, isn't it? Default medium. So we could sort of say, couldn't we, that we've got a boolean which is like default medium is set, and then after having gone through all the trees, gone through all the do's, I mean, I've gone through the whole lot actually, isn't it? Print projects. Push projects, yeah, it's just at the bottom. Push, it's all in push projects. I haven't done all of this. We could. Yeah, I'm thinking about erroring out, aren't I? No. That could error. Yeah, right. So it's kind of like when you get out here, you want to somehow have got to have like if this fails, return 0. Free the errors and return 0. Oh, hold on a second, what's resolution errors? Is this anything useful? It's accounts and errors. Push error, fit error, position variable. Okay, so did we do this? Couldn't find person, push error. Now where is that being used exactly? Result string is taking resolution errors. So that sets them up. I wonder. Should I be sort of saying at this point, if there is any errors, then we free and bail? I think that's what you do, isn't it? Well, what is it? It's free. Free result, isn't it? And the thing is, you want to say, actually, I think we'd like to, I'm not sure, let's see how exactly I would do this, but I'd like to maybe distinguish between errors and warnings. So warnings could reasonably be ignored. And errors have to actually completely fail. And we do have the idea, don't we? Because we do have the print, because we do print error, right? Don't we? Push config error. So yeah, we had this idea here, S warning. Yeah, all of these configs are, all the config errors are accompanied with a push error, strangely enough. we've got a warning, warning, warning. See, they're all just warnings. There's an error here. Config error, this doesn't push an error. Oh, it's onto the resolution. So yeah, I guess this guy can, yeah, it's reading the scope tree and returning 0. So this guy is kind of okay to control how it closes. But I think this guy, probably wants to use, because yeah, I think basically the idea here is that failures of like resolution failures aren't intrinsically fatal in the context of performing the resolution. They're only fatal. They're only potentially fatal once we complete the resolution and we're into the main program. I think that's kind of the story. So do you also have a get error? Like, what is this? Are we calling this? If get person. So we're gonna, oh, if we can't get an error. So if you can't get an error, oh, that was to disambiguate. Oh, that's cool. Sorry, to deduplicate. So that's the whole point of this push error stuff. The push error we did so that we could deduplicate errors. Now the nice thing about this is that we can actually use this. We can actually use the resolution errors thing for the additional purpose of failing completely. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So we've got a push error. Now I wonder if you want to say error count and errors. I think we probably might do. And warning count. And it's like, if you come down to there and there's ever any any errors, then you consider them to be fatal, basically. Okay. So then when you push error, you actually want to take the severity . Oh, it's in Cinera.c now. So they're talking about config error. Yeah, it is. The severity S error and S warning. Right, and then what you do is you switch on the severity. I guess. Nah, fuck it. If severity is equal to S warning, I get error. I guess it's sort of, again, taking the severity, I assume. So that ain't gonna fly. So the warning can. Oh, sorry. Oh, can't build it. So, save, build Cinera. I was saying get error S warning. So yeah, unfortunately, we did some changes here that are in Cinera.config.c that aren't actually going to get propagated back to config.full. Can I just jump down to the next one? Ooh. Okay, so here we go. If errors can't, then we need to free the result. I think that's reasonable, isn't it? Now, it was that thing, wasn't it? If the default medium could not be set, p default medium. Well, actually, you just need to check at the bottom, don't you? You just need to say if p default medium, then you're done. Get medium from project doesn't report the error. So if there's no default medium, then you just report that fact. You print the error and push the error on, I think. See if we can actually exhibit this behavior. So we want default medium. So if that's not set, I think we should end up getting two HTML buffers inside Cinera.c, and I think that person will try to die. So there you go. So maybe we just left it so it didn't handle it, so we need to handle it in the config side. Maybe we intentionally did that, because that's what's happening. We would expect it not to be able to do what it needs to do. But here we go. If the config errors count is greater than that, so we want to be doing the following. Now, how do you do this? Push error. And I guess it's like also, do you need to bother to check? I guess you just so position file name. So what does handle local variable position? So that's supposed to be taking a file name. So what do we have in here? We've got config. Yeah, that's interesting actually, isn't it? That position file name. You know, if something isn't set, like you can't really report where the, like in which file the error occurred, because you're talking about an absence of something, and it's like, well, where do you say it's absent from? Here's one for you. Is that right? Project ID. Right, and then here we go. Position and variable. So clearly it's supposed to be that. Token position is going to be nothing. Config identifier variable, I guess, is just ident default medium. Oops. So with a bit of luck, now we should actually error out. So we do get the config error onset default medium. Okay. Onset default medium for project risky. Now, was it risky? I guess it was actually, yeah. Was it? Hang on. Conf. No, it should have been for Project Hero. That's interesting. So push error is pointing to the 0 page. Really? Not 100% sure that matters. Let's try it again and just see what the error is again. So the signal is caused by read memory access. Just point to the 0 page. Push error 2644. The call on 3214. So it's this call here. Push error. It reckons E is on point to the 0 page. Config error, so 2644 position. It's trying to dereference. Fuck all. I guess actually more like it. Also, risky code Ray hero. Perfect. Couldn't find person Biblo, really. Didn't we just say that you should do that? On line 189. Is it saying line 189? Ah, right, so that's interesting. So we've got the case insensitivity out in Cinera's area, I believe. Person Biblo. Could not find person Biblo. So it's going to be get person, isn't it, surely? Yes, there we get him through. Okay, so that's nice. But now, onset default medium for project, risky code rain hero. Now, additionally, actually, I wonder, could we do the following? Like, could we print out the entire family for these dudes, so that people can like more readily find them? I wonder, because there could be multiple products with the same name, but who are in different who have different parents. Could we do that? I wonder. So it's here. So where we're doing the PID. I guess what I'm proposing is get a family call, really, which is going to be the string of that. You know, because we do that, we do perform that resolution. Way up here, somewhere. Up here. It's ID key is equal to that. Now, it's a bit cheeky. Well, it's not really cheeky. It's just a bit arduous, really, because you have to do this whole thing. Now, I also wonder, like, if variable is finite family, like, couldn't this actually happen up here? Right, so you do this entire thing up here. I don't see why that shouldn't work. Because then essentially what you're doing is you sort of say you're able to, you know, if you put the whole thing up there, up here, now just as a first port of call, does this even work? Let's see. So how do we see this? I think it's basically print the config, isn't it? Oh yeah. So we do actually at least need to set the default medium just for the moment. Is it? Oh, that's unfortunate. So I'll tell you why that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because this is just a containing project. This project is not intended to actually produce any stuff. Like it's not going to have any HTML files associated with it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But anyway, let's just see if we're getting this through. So hero array, inventory hero array. So yeah, that does seem to have got the family stuff coming through. So that's answered our question at least. So let's carry on where we're going with that, which is essentially right. And I guess additionally, it's just this, isn't it? Right. So you want this to take the scope tree. And yeah, if the string listener needs to be involved in this area, then you do that there. Have we got a string book? What we're missing here? C resolved variables. String list. We've got a string list. We've got the scope coming in. I think you want to do this separately. Drive family of project, and then you do an extend string in book separately. Is this at all right? Maybe what you do is you do all that stuff, and then depending on whether you've received the config, Because I think this should work in this case, right? Derived family of project. I think that. Let's just build it. See if it does actually build. It doesn't. So scope project. So let's see if this first of all does what we wanted it to do. Okay, so that does seem to do what we want it to. Now, I would like to be able to call this function. The whole point of doing this is so that I can try and call this function down later on. So it's where is the default medium. Right, what I'm basically suggesting is deriving that project medium here. Now, could that be possible? Project parent. We do have the scope tree, project tree. So it should be possible, shouldn't it? So there's two things that we need to do with the config. I mean, I guess you could just try passing the config straight through and see if it just works. If it does, then great. Sorry, project tree, wasn't it? I mean, if that just works, then that'd be kind of okay. So, yeah, nothing's dying so far. So now if we go to, yeah, let's just delete that. So let this fail. And then if we go into Cinera.c and remove that sleep, wherever that was, don't print that. With a bit of luck, we should see some errors. So we have got hero code, hero risky, hero array. What we haven't got though is this. So I think maybe derived family of project. Do we just reset the pen? It's a bit weird, but I think that's what you do have to do. Taking the memory book. Now the C. Taking the memory box. What is it taking? Oh, it needs to pass the pointer to it. Yeah, that's what you want. So that's perfect, actually. That's pretty sweet. I'm pretty chuffed with that. It's playing out. So it comes through risky book for code, risky book reader, risky book, risky hero code, hero array, and hero. Yeah, that's sweet. So now the question is, do we want to introduce a thing that sort of says this is like a holding project, essentially? In other words, this project here, we're saying, is not supposed to contain, it doesn't need to have a default medium, because we sort of say that it won't be processed. And I just don't know. Shouldn't we just totally error out if a person cannot be found? I sort of think that we don't necessarily need to error out, because maybe owners, actually. Okay, yeah, if the owner can't be found, I suppose. Couldn't find a person back. Copy warning. I don't know whether the person doesn't exist. Yeah, and then these default mediums are going to get in our way. I think this is commented out, isn't it? Yeah, I couldn't find person Matt. And also, now that I think about it, erroring out. I guess we sort of are. Are we, maybe? Oh no, because it's trying to look in the wrong directory here. So that's why we're not seeing anything. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's fine to just do this. Yeah, let's just say that it is. Wow, what's happened here? So we've got a read of size 1 in tokenize. Pass config. On handle character ignored. Wow, nice one. So, I see. Okay, cool. So we need to go to the tokenizer. Yeah, it's getting tangled up, isn't it? Because it's basically saying, it's just saying while that. So how do you handle this exactly? Which specific line is it crashing on? 608, so it's crashing on here while that. Well, hold on a second. Don't we need to check this first? Check where the pointer is. That's surely what we need to do, isn't it? Yeah. So is there anywhere else we check that size? Just check the ETF character actually goes over the size correctly. So it's not even using the size, is that right? Bytes remaining. Oh, I guess, yeah, the bytes remaining can. Ah, hang on a second. Get UTF character from there. Size is that. So how's it using bytes remaining? Bytes remaining greater than that. So I presume that that's just fine. Okay. So config.conf. Error received on line 188. Syntax error received map expected in semicolon. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the thing that's just making this a bit more tough is that I could choose to make the string parser only permit certain characters, but I don't know that I want to do that. Yeah, I just don't know that I want to do that. So Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, if the owner isn't set, that's the question, isn't it? Should we turn it? Well, I guess it's fine. It's probably fine just to warn, isn't it? You know, as we were just saying, you see it way up there, don't you? Wherever it is. You know, if somebody isn't set. Well, it's him, isn't it, Matt? Although this isn't going to matter because we only see this guy. You know, as you see that happen, you're looking in this directory where you look in the owner where it doesn't even exist. And then you sort of think, couldn't find person Matt, owner set, but the person doesn't exist. I guess that's fine. So yeah, totally airing out, depending on refine. I think we'll just mark that. Well, there we go. So config error, if the project title is greater than the max project weight name length. Right. So it's same again, isn't it? So it's in config.c where we do the push project. I think it's just here, isn't it? If the p title will this be available to us? So there's match project name length. Try and build it, see if it does. So yeah, it seems to be available. So if the tile length is greater than the max project name length, we want to reset the pen. Well, we don't need the pen. We just sort of say, where's the title set? Well, mind you, I suppose we could error when the title gets set, couldn't we? So title resolve string. Do we do anything test wise in here? Yeah, we don't really, do we? So maybe we just let it resolve and then we just say when we set the project title out here, yeah, I guess you can do it here, can't you? And I think it would be reasonable to do this in this case because this is an affirmative thing. It's like this is something that somebody's done in this particular position, this particular location. They've set this thing on this line, which isn't the same case with the default medium, which was unset. Yeah, so I think, and also now that I think about it, actually, default medium. Yeah, actually, the default medium not being set in a product isn't necessarily cause for concern, because you can just set it yourself in your HTML file. You could go like that. So yeah, I might actually retract this. Oops. And say this isn't an error but a warning. Right. And then inside Cinera we perform that check. Shouldn't this fail here, actually? It is no default medium set. Like, shouldn't that... Because this default medium is going to be non-set. Do we have to just do the check again? Default medium starts off as that. Current product default medium, which is going to be null. If there's a medium set... there might not be a medium set. Aha. So then finally we then say, if there's no default medium after having done all this, there we go. Does it report why? Onset default medium from product. So yeah, I guess that's what you do. You'll note that some of these do actually get handled because we do set a default medium in their file. So 440. So yeah, we set medium speech in here, so that's going to come through, no problem. So yeah, weirdly enough, we've again ended up in a situation where we've only pushed on warnings. Although, I think when we do this one, this is going to be an error. So let's do this. So it's the project tree pairs I position file name, I think. This is a warning. Sorry, an error. It's actually push error. I think it's just title. Is that right? On church, I don't want church stuff. Blimey, what's going on here? The sensuous woman, does he treat your breast like unripe grapefruit? So how many characters is this going to be? That's 71 cars. And let's just see what is the actual max thing. So we're allowed 63. Okay, so that should trigger this error, shouldn't it? Yeah. Project title is longer than the database can handle. Config, handmade hero. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Now, how do I tell them how long it can handle? Just hard code it. I suppose the alternative would be to make a message for it. So sprint F basically. Nah, screw it. If it comes back to haunt us, then Who cares? We'll handle it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I also think maybe we'll do that, because like the thinking being that it's going to be a long thing, so you probably want it to be on a different line. Prototype is longer than the database can handle, 64 characters. Maybe 64 cars max. And how many characters is this thing? That's 68 bytes. I guess just prototype is too long. Yeah, I think that should be okay. And then again, this unset default mediums isn't really causing us too much trouble because we actually handle it in the form of skipping these dudes. So yeah. We're in business. So the new setup's got rid of the notion of player URL prefix. Document about the documentation. Yeah, do we want to take this origin? Yeah, episode numbers, we're still not sure. Now it's DB entry must get out of the field. So how long have we got left? Gosh, we've got another 42 minutes. Oh yeah, we need to do this, don't we? The asset rehashing. Should we have a quick look at this? Basically, all this means is when is it failing? We git pulled, then asking the new files to the current directory. Oh, right. So yeah, git pulling. Right, so what this was it was essentially the JavaScript files. So yeah, like I say, we are synced. Sorry, so we're on the server that is publishing this stuff. we git pulled the stuff, git pulled the everything, including the JavaScript files, and then we rsynced those files to the correct directory, but they didn't get hashed, so they didn't get found. How can we test this? I think we can save it to, we can save the files to a different place and then copy them into the place where the actual thing is. Maybe. I think that could work, perhaps, possibly. So we've got 298 character file, line file. If we resave this, I think it should rehash, shouldn't it? There we go, that does rehash. That was fast, wasn't it? Gosh. So this rehashes. Now, what I'm proposing is if I go to a new file, copy this in, do that, and then if I just close this for now. So we've got the Cinera search test there. If I just move, so if I, in fact, if I rsync, because I think that's what I need us to do. That's the way I was doing it. Rsync Cinera search test.js to, yeah, actually maybe this won't work. Maybe examples. Right. And then if we rsync the Cinera search down to the previous directory, I mean, if it's working, it should update the checksum. But if it's not, then it won't. Perfect. Cool. So in fact, if I now resave this, it'll update. Yeah, that's perfect. So this is what we've got. Now let us just we've got Cinera search already right here. So if we just tail it, there's this testing thing. So each time we just need to, if I just try again, I suppose actually maybe this won't be considered the most recent file actually. Well, let's just see what happens if we do it. So it did apparently send or receive that number of bytes. Let's just tail the dude in the previous guy. So that is testing. Okay, fine. So make sure they've got the right guy again. Sorry, wrong one. we've got the testing here. Oops. For an event, isn't it? Really? Debug events. So let's see what we get. So we've got an enclosed right on the Cinera topics. Cool. Now if we rsync the examples Cinera to here. So we get an enclosed right and an enclose with the name cinerasearch.js with all this crap appended. Now ain't that an interesting thing? I think this is something that rsync maybe appends. So we've got an enclosed right there on 4.9.13, and then we've got the enclosed right on there. And because the checksum matched with the previous one, it didn't bother to hash it. So you can see it's to the dot. It's dot Cinera search, and then this guy does this kind of jiggery pokery. So I guess we need to somehow when we push the watch handle on, where on earth are they getting set? Oh, it's it right here. So yeah, push asset watch handle, file and position. So the file is an actual file, and the position is where we want the asset watch handle to reside. Yeah, here we go. So there's an enclosed right here. Now this is for the watch handle. Yeah, the thing is though, it's this thing that's important, isn't it? isn't it? Let's just see if there's anything information about this. So is that what I'm after? Event type. Push HTML watch handle. In move to and close right and delete. What would happen if I used in move to as well? Let's see what would happen. Because I think you need to actually add the watch handle, don't you? You know, well, I suppose what's going on here? Like Cinera.ctm, we don't have a watch handle added for that guy, or for Cinera. So it sort of seems like it is able to see any events for any files in that directory. Uh-huh. So you got the in move to, and the name. Okay, cool. So I guess that's what you just need. Wonder why I decided against doing that for the assets. Without it, watching for files being moved into direction is not possible. Without it, watching. What are they saying? This is in 2012. Is there a particular reason in move to isn't supported for rename events in the iNotify Linux backend? Without it, watching for files being moved into a directory is not possible. Pretty interesting to see that iNotify was, you know, it kind of got, they added this. They added it in move to as recently as 2012. You know, Linux has been going around for like decades. iNotify presumably has been around for a while as well, hasn't it? Created and was made in 2005 rather. Okay, so there was like just 7 years it just didn't have in move to. It just didn't have it. Alright, well I think we've fixed that particular little error. You can see that that's now correctly getting updated. If we just vim this dude, remove the testing, that updates it, so that checks them, and then if we rsync that dude back in, it now updates it. In move to, yeah, let's just double check the event. Do we ask it? I guess, yeah, here. If the event mask is in delete, then delete entry. Otherwise, if it's in close right or in move to, this guy does that. This guy, in either case, whatever the event is, it just goes ahead and does what it does. Not 0 is supposed to be in that situation. Update asset 0. Defer. Ah. Alright, I think that's good now. So let's toggle off debug events. Go over to the notes. What else have we got going on here? Paths, config include the main. Consider only configured a YouTube playlist chance we can pull the protein for every video in one. Yeah, that's true, we could do that. Page transfer for videos. File location flag, we need to do that, yeah. File watching, I notify, yeah, we need to do that. Storing tone info in database, conditional logic. So we could do if for, oh right, I see. How do we communicate stuff to do with Fred hierarchies families? So we could have a project, we could have a Cinera _ family thing. Support for non-video stuff newsletters. Yes, we do provisionally have that support. It's the mode situation. Oh, sorry, the genre. Kill things properly, allocating to claim the memory what we need. Ah, do we not do that still? Kill quotes. Quote staging. Fetching quotes. Go into buffer. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's never reallocating, is it? So this dude is taking, yeah, right. Quote staging ID size kilobytes 256. So this dude here, we need to make this actually just allocate the space that it actually needs. And I'll probably just copy that code in from the JSON parser. I think that might be the most expedient way of doing that. I think we should just do a to-do on this to just make this a bit more kind of sane. Using make string. We do need that, yeah. And we do need this as well. Yep. Authored, yeah. So I think, did we sort of say... Yeah, I think we do want to say, actually, because we're inserting this category here, I think we want to just hard say that defaults is going to add a medium medium authored. Okay. So it's going to be ident medium. Yeah, it's just the icon and the name, isn't it? So you push that onto that scope tree, pushing the medium authored icon onto the scope tree. And this is going to be a wrap 0 of the Cinera.conf. This dude. So now, if I go to that Cinera.conf, go to here, and just toggle that off, I think we should still build, shouldn't we? We should still get through, no problem. Do we print out the config anywhere? No. But I think we can just see, can't we? Programming speech. Ah. We've lost the authored. There's topics authored. That's interesting. So what did I do wrong? Medium. There we have it. Show comments. Check on programming speech. So yeah. So now basically what that means is that the code that we've written here, this insert category authored, it basically means that because we've added this authored medium by default, it kind of guarantees that it's at least going to be available to us. You know, whether the icon or the name have been changed is up to the configurator. So for example, if we go to CineraConf and sorry, not risky, if we do it in hero. So if we do it up here, let's do it above the default medium, just for the hell of it. Doesn't really matter, but let's just try it. And we say the name is equal to cool words. Right. Then I think, if I'm not very much mistaken, this should actually come through into here. Yeah, cool words. And we still got the icon. So you can sort of set the icon as you like. As long as it's a glyph. So what's that? That's a shrimp. That's a tooth. That's a smiley face with smiley eyes and hand covering mouth. Let's have a go at doing that. So it's a decimal entity, this. So if we say in our little thing, icon is equal to this, right? So somebody's configured it to be like that. You now see that comes through. Cool words. So yeah, and also, I wonder what happens if you just do an empty one. Because basically, in setting this, you can, well, rather, in adding an authored up here, like in the default, there's no, it has to exist, right? So there's no way for somebody to delete it. Now, interestingly, so these guys are still considered to be authored, but they haven't got an icon, and they haven't showed up in here. Which I guess is kind of fine. At least it doesn't die. You can tell it's considered authored because it's got the styling. They're like this and they're boldened, and the text is italics. Yeah, let's just put it back to how it was. And it's also worth bearing in mind that that is specific to the hero project. The risky project would just inherit the regular default. Sorry, the regular authored thing. So yeah, right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get something to eat. I think we've done about 2 hours there, haven't we? Yeah. I'm going to go and get something to eat. And then maybe I'll come back and do some more. Not sure. We'll see. But I think we're at the position where we need to start working on the database. So we need to do the version 5 database, I think. Because I kind of looked through all the notes that we've got, the to-dos, and it just seemed like kind of done most of the things that we need to kind of do. Or most of the things that we can do before we can do the database. Before we have to do the database. Now, do you remember actually when I was looking at the support thing? Sorry, when I was looking at the default thing, I sort of said, if there ever comes a time when I need to add another scope, when I need to push another scope on in this kind of a manner, then I would sort of make a function to do this a bit easier, to save us having to do all these lines. Maybe I will do that. Because I've done this thing 3 times now. Basically, I think we've got this push scope situation. I wonder if we can do a sort of a push pair function that just takes ident icon and the wrap 0 thing and the thing that it's pushing onto. I suppose it'd be kind of like, you could call it like push default scope, push default pair. So you basically init those guys and then you just push those guys onto the thing. I mean, that kind of begs the question, like, why bother having push pair depend on you bundling up the config pair? Because you could split them out in this call, couldn't you? Pair. So that is a pair. Oh, sorry, it's not that. It's not this assignment. It's a different pair from somewhere else. This pair up here. So that is going to be the field ID and the T-file path. Isn't it? Is that right? Oh, right, yeah, because pairs are taking even more stuff, aren't they? Yeah, the pets are taking more stuff, but the only thing that we care about, so I'll just show you what I mean by that. They contain a position, right? And a position isn't going to be applicable to the default stuff. So maybe it's fair to keep the canonical push pair function handling an entire pair, including the position, and just add a push default pair, push default scope, right? Which takes the key and the value separately, and the scope that it's pushing onto. There we go. But for now, I'm going to go and get some food. Pretty goddamn hungry. So yeah, that's it. I think we got a reasonable amount done today in that stream. You can see that Cinera's down there using 253 megs of RAM, and if you can see that actually, Cinera 253 megs of RAM. That's because we're in a debug build, so it has the address sanitizer on, which itself uses a bunch of memory. That's nothing to worry about because optimized build is just like 12 megs or something. So yeah, that's all for now. Thank you very much, Hairs and Heroines, for being here, for being fantastic, for being beautiful, and for being default. Until next time, farewell for now.